What's up? How is everybody doing this evening? It's almost time for the 6 o'clock news. Almost time. I'm just waiting for people to come in. I know it takes a while for sometimes people to get the notification that I'm live. So that's what we're waiting on. And we'll go through some news, and then we'll go through some more news. And we'll have a discussion, of course, because we have a discussion every weeknight. Yeah. I was hoping that Nicanor Boluarte's stuff would be done, but I should have known it wouldn't be because nothing in Peru gets done until the evening, at least completed till evening, so that's waiting. Okay. So, alright. What have we talked about today? Well, it's actually been a relatively slow news day, all things considered. What's up, Tita? I was hoping that stuff would get done in the afternoon before it was time to shut down for the day. I guess there'll be stories tomorrow morning, I guess. And that being the trial of, or the hearing, I guess, for Dina Boluarte's brother. Because, you know, it runs in the family to be a piece of shit. Anyway, so what we covered today was the floating of a 60% tariff on the port of Shanghai by one of Trump's advisors and members of his transition team. We talked about California. What's up, Daniel? We talked about California selling trains to Peru for a commuter rail line going from Lima to Chosica. We talked about Dina Boluarte being the most unpopular person in the world and now down to a 3% approval rating. 3%. What's up, Alexa? And then can't say your name too loud or I'll set off devices in my house. And then this afternoon, and I'm still working on the totality of this, but like the femicide case in Comas, the femicide suspect is still on the run and may have fled the country. There are 6 people currently detained. No, they're not the same trains that derailed all the time. These are the commuter trains that were used in San Francisco. They were built in between 84 and 87. Not the derailing trains. These were reliably in service. It's 19 locomotives and 90 carriage cars. So that should help to alleviate some of the traffic problems in Lima. So I mean, it's good news, right? The tariff proposal thing that one of Donald Trump's staffers floated, I mean, would ultimately have no impact on Peru. It shouldn't, right? If the U.S. doesn't want stuff out of the port of Chancay, fine. Ship it out of the port of Callao. Sorry, guys. I got a bit of a head cold, so I'm going to duck away every once in a while. So the tariff thing is going to be scary to some people. No reason to be scared of it. I don't think it just, if that's how the Trump administration wants to, manipulate things, that's fine, because Peru can ship their own stuff out of the port of Callao or the port of Arequipa. If it's like, especially like the gold, the silver, the zinc, the copper, it can come out of the port of Arequipa for the U.S. if that's what they want. How much of the $65 million that the U.S. left Peru? 65 million. What 65 million are you talking about? You mean like yes, it will be. But I mean, if it can impact trade, right? Because like somebody in the US, like say for blueberries, for instance, I'm going to use blueberries just as an example. So say the US puts a tariff on the port itself, anything that comes out of the port. Then what that could do for some people, like some retailers in the US, like say like Walmart runs grocery stores, or part of Walmart is a grocery store, right? They could say, okay, well, we're not going to import blueberries from Peru then because of the tariffs, right? We're going to import from Chile instead, which is also a producer of blueberries, right? They could say that, and that does end up hurting Peruvian blueberry farmers. So if you're a blueberry farmer in Peru, then you just push it through the port of like Callao or something like that. So before he left for security. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. How much of it is actually going to go to security? Good fucking guess. Like, just pick a number, a percentage, right? Because probably not all of it. right? Like, this is Peru, guys. Yeah. So, like, there are ways that the tariff could hurt in a way if you just ignored it altogether, and then that also, yes, there is a follow-on cost. So, like, if for instance, if the blueberry farmer said, no, we're still going to ship out of the port of Shanghai, we don't give a shit about the U.S. tariffs, then yes, then it will get paid by the U.S. consumers. It doesn't get paid by Peru and go to that cost would go to the U.S. consumers. It's just if a company like Walmart said, well, we'll just get our berries from Chile, then, then they can say, okay, well, we'll ship to you out of the Port of Callao instead, so that you don't have to bear the brunt of the tariffs. Because Walmart pays the cost up front, and then consumers end up paying Walmart back. That's how that works, right? So it's just, you have to be strategic with how you do things sometimes if you're dealing with the U.S. because you never know, right? And certainly if you're a Peruvian producer of arándanos, right, then you don't want to lose business to competition in Chile. And I'm pretty sure the Blueberry Board does not want to lose business to Chile. Yes, there is a board for blueberry farmers. They are represented within Peru. It's a thing. There is an actual blueberry board. Right? So owners were really supposed to stock the stores or only products until Sam passed away. That was the original plan, yes. The original business plan behind Walmart before he passed away and passed the store on to his kids, who sought to make the store bigger and provide more profit. Yes, the original plan behind Walmart was everything in there had to be American made. What happened in the 1980s, though, and the reason why a lot of this went away, is that U.S. corporations were encouraged by the Reagan administration to offshore manufacturing in order to bring down the cost of goods and to limit wage growth. So they had two options in the U.S. in the 1980s, and one was offshoring. So move your manufacturing to another country to make the manufacturing itself cheaper, save on your labor costs, therefore bring down the price of goods, because there was a lot of inflation in the U.S. And that inflation came from wage growth. And so because labor is the largest cost any corporation is going to have in most cases, right? So they had that option to offshore, or they could raise everybody's income, raise their wages, pay their staff more so that everybody could afford everything, because the price of goods was really going up. Well, okay, the cheaper answer was to offshore everything. Ask a company in China or Malaysia or somewhere else, ask them to make it. And so that's what happened. And they expanded the port of Long Beach on the West Coast, turned it into a megaport, and as a result, manufacturing left the United States and has not been replaced and probably can't be. The reason that happened was because in the 1960s, the United States implemented the economic theories of Milton Friedman. And Milton Friedman believed that capitalism was the rising tide that would float all boats, meaning that if the U.S. were to offshore manufacturing, that would make everybody else more democratic and bring up living standards around the world. As a result, a lot of places around the world end up being exploited, Peru being one of those, where mining companies heavily moved into Peru, particularly in the 1990s after, Fujimori opened up Peru to more international investment. And as a result, all these companies came pouring in to exploit Peruvian minerals and Peruvian agriculture. And the thought was that it would raise the living standard in a place like Peru. Now, it has, to an extent. This head cold sucks. It has, to an extent. But, there's other ways to go about it as well. It's just that was the economic theory of the day, and it continues to be a dominant economic theory today. Now, it's more prevalent among traditional conservatives in the United States, so traditional Republicans in the United States, but it's fairly popular around the world to believe that capitalism is the rising tide that floats all boats. We're bringing Donnie up. So Donnie is now a contributor. Well, as soon as he finishes setting up his account. Good, how are you doing?
Good. Just finishing work.
Just finishing work. Yeah, Fujimori family is bullshit. Yes, the Fujimori family is bullshit. Yes. What do you think of Elon Musk? Not good things.
He's a technological maniac.
He's not even really that smart. He's purchased companies that do smart things, which makes him look smart. But he's really not that smart. I mean, what would be the projects if we compared them to a specific the projects like the I'm in the ghetto, that sort, if we compared them to a specific part of Lima? Segundo Lurigancho. Like, that's the ghetto. The neighborhoods along the Panamericana Norte, that's the ghetto, right? You're just looking at low income places.
Callao is ghetto.
I was thinking of Callao. Maybe. Well, parts of Callao, sure. Parts of it. Not all of it, but parts of it, yeah.
Downtown Callao.
But yeah, those would be like, it's like parts of San Juan de Lurigancho, parts along the Panamericana Norte, parts of Callao, stuff like that. It's, yeah, La Puta is nice, but like other parts are not. So it's like, you're not going to are you a Democrat or a Republican? Well, my whole life I've been a Democrat, but here's the thing. So hear me on this. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier. Here's the thing about this. I sort of expect that most Peruvians would be Donald Trump voters. Right? I sort of expect that. Right? Because of the like cultural social things. Right? Like around abortion, around things like that, where that's around religion, where that's very important to Peruvians. Similarly, it would be important to the Republican Party. Now, I can criticize it all I want as somebody who's a Democrat, but I would expect that most Peruvians would sort of lean towards Trump, right? So it doesn't bother me, right? Like my job in this is not to convince you to be a Democrat. My job in this is to give you the news, and that's it, right? is dangerous. Here you see kills every day. It's really sad to get used to it.
But
Yeah.
maybe the only reason for my standpoint that I'm happy for Trump
Yeah.
is because I holding bitcoins.
Because you're holding bitcoins. Yeah, well, then yes, then you would be happy for Trump if you hold bitcoins. Because he wants, we're going to bring Salome up. Salome.
I'm a Bitcoin holder, so
Yeah, well, then yeah, because he wants the national Bitcoin reserve. What's up, Salome? How you doing?
Great. Thank you for accepting my request.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Because, like, I think I am, but,
I
like...
didn't catch it well. Did you say Salome or
So-
Salome?
Salome.
Salome. That's
Salome. I need to put more of an accent on the E. Yeah, Salome.
Yeah. Usually
But-
when you have a little symbol on a vowel,
Yeah.
it is first.
Yeah, that's where I need to put the emphasis. I know that, but at the same time, I'm like, how much is too much? Or how much is enough?
Yeah. Something, even Spanish speakers need to work on that.
Yeah. Look, I'm straight up, I'm gringo. So I have no concept of, like, how much accent is enough accent.
well, how hard? Well, as hard
along the way.
as hard as you won't be able to spit someone.
That's funny that doing it. I was right about that.
Yeah. So,
Well, I was very curious about the projects because I've been hearing about that for a long time with some students also. I couldn't just quite figure out what would be the comparative here in Peru. And then when you mentioned Callar, which I told you before, what we call conos, then I just figured out that would be like the ghetto. But in Peru, in Lima especially, we have many parts where you can see this, not only
well,
those.
well, there was a book that was published probably a decade ago or something like that. And it was talking about the largest slums in the world. And at one point, Lima was home to the first or second largest slum in the entire world, according to this book. And in that book, what they were saying was that the entire stretch, basically from San Juan de Lurigancho to Villa El Salvador, was a ghetto. The whole thing.
Oh, did they say that then?
And then I was thinking to myself, like, no, that's not the case, right? That's not the case. Like, are there areas in? Yeah, are there areas in there? Yeah, sure. There's areas in there.
You gotta go across Surco,
Yeah,
Surquillo.
There are parts in Surco which you can consider the ghetto. It's called, I think, Old Surco.
yeah, or
Right?
or like San Borja,
Yeah.
Circa, La Panamericana Norte, Panamericana Sur. Like if you're in San Borja, but you get close to the highway, it's kind of ghetto-y, right?
Yes, I see that part of San Borja. It's almost near also to this convention center, Videna.
Yeah.
Around the park, so there's something there. Ghetto.
Right, and there are parts of Lima, that we're aware have become richer over time.
Yeah.
There are parts of Lima that have become poorer over time, right? So like Avenida Canada has become poorer over time.
Yeah, and it's contradictory because the places surrounding that area, I mean, they are really important places. You have the culture minister, a building. One of the highest buildings in Lima, if not in Peru, is there, almost close to Canada, which is the nation, the Pan Nation building.
Yeah.
So it couldn't be that case, but it is. And I don't know why.
ABCDE, there is in the actual meaning of them. But like as a colloquial way of saying like the ghetto, there really isn't much of a difference. And So, for instance, a ghetto technically is any neighborhood that has like a concentration of a particular type of person, right? So you could say that like if you were in a neighborhood that was very highly Italian, right? You could say you live in the Italian ghetto, right? But yeah, and I don't count Villa El Salvador as a ghetto anymore. I don't. It's very blue. It's blue collar. It's blue collar. It's lower levels of income, but it's not a ghetto, right? That's just blue collar, low income. But like there are parts of Villa El Salvador that okay, maybe you would get down to that sort of income level, but overall the neighborhood is not. But that's going to be the same with any district you wanted to call out, right? It's not a mansplain, is it? You're right. And a mansplain would be telling you something that a man should have no idea about, right? Trying to explain that to you, but
So where did the term ghetto came from? It did it come with hip hop?
no, Jewish ghettos.
Jewish ghetto?
Yeah, so Jews were often segregated within European cities, and that's where it came from.
Jewish ghetto.
Yeah, Jewish ghetto. So yeah, it's from Europe. It's I'm trying to think. So Krakow, Poland was, I believe, one of the first Jewish ghettos, but no, like Central and Eastern Europe, in how they segregated the Jewish population from what they saw as their ethnic national population. Right. It's like Poles didn't want to intermingle with the Jewish population. Germans didn't like to intermingle with the Jewish population. Okay.
Yeah,
Jewish area of
it's
Venice. But
that's what they say.
yeah, it's Italiano. Okay. But I know, like, during World War II, or prior to World War II, so like in the 1930s, before World War II, that segregation really took off, right? Where, particularly in Germany, the Jewish population was really pushed to only small parts of the city, and crowded them all together. And yeah, you know the rest of that story, I think. Yeah.
No. And in another news today, Movistar just decided not to work. All the internet just crashed.
The internet.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
News, Movistar crash.
Yeah, exactly.
Movistar crashed.
Not new, but it
Wait. Look. I'm a Movistar customer. On
no,
my.
no. I mean, it didn't happen as it did at some other points, but
Like my home internet isn't Movistar, it's Nubix. But
is that so? And how does it work with you? How long have you been using Nubix?
we're coming up on a year. It's been mostly okay. I mean, you have some of like the regular issues that you sort of have with any internet service. Like every once in a while, you know, you have to reset the router or something like that, but like nothing big.
Well, yeah, today also it wasn't that big, at least not in my case. I got the internet back after a while, but
Yeah.
it was coming off and on.
Yeah.
That didn't happen a long time. And I've been using Movistar for a long time. I mean, between all the bad internet companies, Movistar is, like, I would say the safest one.
I have a question for the chat. Why does it matter if I'm a Democrat or a Republican?
I don't know. I mean, they want to know if you support Trump or you're against it.
Yeah, but like I understand that most Peruvians will support Trump. I don't care. Right? Like I could argue with you all day about like why you shouldn't support Trump. I could argue with you all day about how Democrats are stupid as well. But like, what do you want to argue about there? I'm just not going to argue with you in that case. I am just telling you the news. This is Peru. Democrats or Republicans aren't in Peru.
But when you become a citizen, I think they ask you, because they asked me, if you want to be red or blue. They want to be green, and I have no option.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, but like, Democrats and Republicans aren't in Peru. You have Fuerza Popular and Peru Libre, and they're basically the same party. So,
But do you? Sorry, Donnie. Do you mean when you become a Peruvian citizen, they ask your?
No. American citizen.
Oh, like okay.
Yeah. In the U.S., like your political leaning is very much tied to who you are as a person. Right. So if you are like a Republican, it's assumed that you like certain things, you act a certain way, you do certain stuff, right? But if you're a Democrat, then you're assumed that you do other stuff, and right. So, but like you can be neither, right? You can be independent. You can be. I mean, you can be a communist if you want to be, but I mean.
But voting is not mandatory.
In the U.S., no, it's not at all mandatory.
So it means that there is a blank space, if you want to say so, in which people are also not against or also not in favor of Democrats or Republicans. I mean, there must be some kind of community which just don't want to choose a side.
Yeah, and you have other people who don't vote for personal reasons, like. For instance, I knew a lot of guys and a lot of people in the military won't vote while they're in the military because they have this in the U.S. military anyway. They won't vote because they don't like the idea of electing their boss.
Oh, that's very respectful.
Yeah, it seems like a conflict of interest to them, which I actually agree with. But that's not everybody. It's still your choice. If you're in the military and you want to vote, go ahead and vote. It's just that there are people there who choose not to. Myself, I could vote, but I haven't lived in the U.S. since 2006. I don't feel like I should be saying anything to dictate what the U.S. should be doing because I don't live there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
If you vote, they're going to ask you, where are my taxes?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, no, thanks. You can leave me alone for the most part. Thank you. It's like asking Castillo or Keiko. That situation was regrettable and at this point doesn't matter. Right. That was my opinion for the longest time about Keiko versus Castillo. I was asked Keiko or Castillo, and I did a video, and this is on my personal account, where I said like it's the worst choice ever because like never Keiko. I would never, ever, 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 ever vote for Keiko. But can you give me a better option than Castillo? Please.
I feel like Peruvians haven't had the chance to vote for someone for a good candidate. All of them are just for other reasons. So that's why so far during my whole life, since I could vote, I've been voting in blank because I don't feel like supporting none of the candidates.
Yeah.
They all have some background things that.
They're all corrupt. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so put it in plain words here.
You have to file taxes as a U.S. citizen, even if you don't live there. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But you're not actually, your income isn't actually taxed unless you go over a certain amount, and it's like $100 and some $1,000 a year. So you still don't like necessarily pay taxes. You just have to show what they want to do. What the reason they do that is because they use your income to calculate gross national income, which is like an important statistic for them. So what happens though is you have people who live overseas who make more money living overseas, and they file their taxes, and it brings up the U.S. average income when it should actually be registered as lower. Like in reality, the average income in the United States is lower. Like for instance, the poorest county in the United States is in Kentucky, and their average annual income is around $20,000. That's it. So, and I know that may seem like it's significant in Peru because it's about 5 times the national average in Peru, but in the U.S. it's nothing. Like you could barely afford to live on that. Especially if you were not living in that county, you would struggle to pay rent. Hazard County. No, it's not where the Duke boys are from. It's another one. But
what the average rent prices in Kentucky?
It depends where you are. So, but if there are parts of Western Kentucky in particular that are pretty poor, like in the Appalachia regions of Kentucky, there are some very poor areas.
Do you need a car there?
Do you need a car?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you should know, if you live in Florida, for example, because I live in Florida, part of your expenses should be gas
Yep.
and car insurance.
Anywhere you are in the United
That
States,
should be part of your expenses.
outside of New York, pretty much everywhere, maybe Chicago, maybe New York and Chicago, maybe parts of Philadelphia. So New York, parts of Chicago, parts of Philadelphia, you can get away without having a car. But most other cities, you better have a car. They can get pricey in Kentucky depending on where you are. Yeah, if you're in thoroughbred area, then yes, property taxes can get very expensive. Oh, head cold. Be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah. San Francisco is extraordinarily expensive in the U.S. Like San Francisco is ridiculously expensive. You can't afford to live in San Francisco. Like I have a mutual on my personal account who's a bigger creator for the US, and he is a lawyer in San Francisco, and even then I think he would say it's expensive. He loves San Francisco, but he now lives in the suburbs, I believe, because it's like a little bit cheaper than living actually in the city. San Francisco is expensive. So Illinois is only expensive in certain small pockets. It's really not that bad. But parts of Chicago are expensive. But if you're in southern Illinois, which is like where they grow all the corn in Illinois, then it's not that bad. Okay, so you want to go through? I'm going to go through some announcements, Donnie. And Salome.
I mute myself.
And Salome. So for Pensante. Pensante is also now available on Blue Sky. So it's Twitter, Blue Sky, TikTok, and YouTube are all available. Obviously, TikTok and YouTube for videos. At this point, Blue Sky and Twitter basically just handle like a news feed, right? So if you follow the account on there, you will get the publication of everything in print and written form from the website. So you can follow on all those platforms. The only one with a different name is TikTok. Or not TikTok, sorry, is Twitter, because Pensate Peru, I guess somebody else took it on Twitter before. So it's Peru Pensante on Twitter. But everything else is Pensate Peru. And so Donnie you're the first contributor, dude. You're the first person I've given an account to. Oh, well, other than my wife. I'm sorry. My wife also has one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I apologize. I apologize to you for putting my wife first.
Don't worry, man. Don't worry. It should be better for your safety.
Yeah, better for my safety. But so Donnie is the first person signed up as a contributor, because Donnie and I talked this afternoon, chatted a little bit this afternoon, and he gave me his email address and I hooked him up. So the idea behind the contributors is that I'm a gringo talking to you about news in Peru, and that's helpful, I guess, for the clarity of my English, I guess. But other than that, I'm not Peruvian. And so my reality about Peru is entirely different than your reality about Peru. Entirely different. And there are many different realities all around Peru. And Donnie's reality is different than mine. Salome's reality is different than both of ours. And she's a woman in Peru. And we have a police officer who committed femicide on the loose. So she has an entirely different reality than either of us do, right? And so the idea behind adding contributors in, and this is, again, still all in English because I want to keep this as English language news because I think that's important for Peru. Donnie and I agree that is very important in terms of getting the message out about things that happen in Peru. But it's also important that while I keep it in English so it gets a greater distribution internationally, that we have people from all over the country, right, that have different realities, that experience Peru in different ways. Because I am a privileged person in Peru representing a privileged class in Peru, right? I am a white dude with comparably more money than most people in Peru, right? And so I am not going to see things the same way. Donnie grew up in Callao. He's going to see Peru differently than me. So having him as a contributor brings a different reality, a different perspective. International news, if it impacts Peru. Like, so you'll see on... well, right now anyway, it's international news as long as it has a tie back to Peru. Like, so for instance, the U.S. elections. I covered the U.S. elections, right? Donnie was there. I was live. I think Donnie was there. I was live for like 12 hours that day, right? I didn't like my life. I never wanted to go live again after the U.S. elections because I was here talking for so long. But so like the U.S. elections obviously impact Peru. Trade agreements impact Peru. What was the last one? Oh, so I published one today where one of Donald Trump's advisors has been floating this idea of a 60% tariff specifically on the port of Chancay for the U.S. Well, okay, that's international news, but it impacts Peru. I like to an extent, yes, I also want to reach out to the Peruvian diaspora, which is like the group of Peruvians who live all around the world. And there are certain areas where they obviously concentrate. Like there are Peruvians in New York City. There are Peruvians in in Florida in general, right? There are Peruvians in Chicago. There are Peruvians in Los Angeles or in that area, right? So to an extent, I want to reach out to the diaspora, but like not too aggressively, because ultimately the diaspora also needs to be aware of what's going on in Peru. And the thing is, that second or third generation of Peruvians now living in the United States or Canada or Europe, a lot of them don't speak Spanish. There are Peruvians who will come in here from the United States who they don't speak Spanish, or not fluently enough that they can interact with the news that way.
I agree with that.
Right. So let's keep them aware too, right? Instead of just saying, oh, you're in the U.S. now, just only pay attention to U.S. news. Let's give them Peruvian news because they also are concerned with it, right? So, yeah. So anyway, but ultimately I would like to have contributors from all over the country. I don't care where it is. Ayacucho, Iquitos, Puno, Tacna, Tumbas, Guadalupe, Huancayo, Huancaya.
Guadalupe is not. It's not a town.
What? Guadalupe is what?
It's not a town or a city.
Well, hey, my mother-in-law's from Guadalupe.
Guadalupe. Where's that? Guadalupe. I haven't heard of.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
But maybe there is, and I just don't know.
Yeah, Guadalupe. Here, I'll pull it because, look. Do you think I know exactly where it is on a map?
No, but Guadalupe really is not in Lima.
No, it's not. It's not. It's nowhere close to Lima. It is.
Yeah, okay.
It is una ciudad de la costa norte del Perú.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
En la provincia de Pacasmayo en el departamento de la Libertad.
So it must be like a village, but not a specific city.
Yeah, it's not like a big place. It's not a big place.
Then I had no idea because I don't know too much of villages, just cities.
Yeah. I don't blame people for not knowing it. I'm just saying, since my mother-in-law is there, I should give it a shout out. It's a place.
Yeah, that's nice. But I was wondering. I mean, it's really nice that you want to bring people from other cities together to collaborate in your channel.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy it will be to find English speakers inside Peru.
Yeah,
That would be challenging.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing in the world. It's not the easiest thing. But
it's not that there aren't, but it's going to be a little bit challenging to find fluent English speakers.
Yes, it will. It will be. But
I believe it will get people motivated too, because maybe this will be a place so they can get their other language going.
Yeah, but I mean, I know there are English language speakers, for instance, in Iquitos, right? Because of the oil industry, I know they're there. right?
Yeah.
The places where it's harder to find that are the mining.
Closest to the mountains.
Yeah, the mountains. The mountains, it's hard. But I know they're out there. I know they're out there because, like, there's a guy who comes in here. Brandon is from Huancayo, and he speaks English. Like, he's come up and talked to me before on the panel. So, like, I know there are some. It's just I also know there's not a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so it's an ideal to have those people, and I want their voices to be heard. And to be, like, not just heard, but also that it brings people from around Peru to a place where they can share the voice and have a conversation. Because ultimately, I would like to come on here, right, and like give a quick rundown of the news that happened today, and then we have like a panel of people from around the country where it's like, okay, well, what happened in I don't know what happened in Iquitos today, and whoever can speak English from Iquitos says, oh, well, this happened, right? Or depending on who's available. I understand, like, Salome, I think you know my stance on this is, like, I don't need you to be, like, constantly available. This isn't a job. It's
I got that.
It's like, just, if you want to share your point of view, if you have an opinion, and like an intelligent opinion, I would hope, but that you can contribute and have a voice, and hopefully it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That's all it really is.
Yes, I think that would be. I think it's not impossible to find contributors from other cities, but
I know
there might be some that probably travel to live in other countries. I know some people from Puno who are now living in Australia. For example.
And I know there's a guy who follows me on my personal account, but I never see him over here on this account. And he's from Trujillo, and
The coast, part of the coast of Peru.
Being based in Lima is fine, Elizabeth. You're allowed to be based in Lima, right? Because we've had this conversation this afternoon where people in Lima have different realities about Peru and Lima specifically, right? It's not the same for people to live. Like, it's a different reality living in Miraflores than living in San Isidro. Like, those are different realities. Can you imagine the difference in reality between living in Miraflores and living in San Juan del Gancho, or like
they call it St. John of Lurie, Washington.
Yeah, or like San Martin de Porres, like that. It's incredibly different. You're not even talking. Like, they're different worlds. Okay,
it is. Yeah,
it's not the same thing at all.
Should we divide Lima?
Centro de Lima, that's where I am. See, like, that's a great perspective to have, Elizabeth. That is a great perspective to have, because that's where they set everything on fire.
Florida, people from San Isidro and Miraflores, they have no idea what a moto taxi is.
Like, really? Because, like, they're banned.
Yes, they are banned.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah, they're not allowing them.
But they know, because of that TikTok, now they know what it is, at least. But
Well, they've never been in there.
They are banned.
Yeah, but, like, I've been, like, the only time I've been in a moto taxi, I was in Concepcion. I think that's the only time I've been in a moto taxi. Yeah, no, that's the only time I've been in a moto taxi, Concepcion. Now, if you go to Huacho, they are all over the place. There are more moto taxis in Huacho than there are people.
When we cross Chorrillos too, there's
Yeah, when we cross Chavillos, there's some too. But But this is what I mean about like there being like totally different realities for people.
Yeah, because it's crazy because even Callao is big. And if you go to downtown Callao, you don't see motorcycles or motor taxis. But if you go to Ventanilla, Callao, you see a lot of motor taxis.
Yeah. I'm telling you though, go to Huacho. If you're like, man, what's a moto taxi? Go to Huacho. Everything's a moto taxi. Like,
in some cities that's the primary way of translation.
Yeah.
Transportation, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for sure it is. Like, but like even here in San Bartolo, there's moto taxis. It's how a lot of people get around San Bartolo. But the thing is, that's how the locals get around, and then the lawyers bring out their Audis. You know.
Well, it's like it's one of the cheapest ways to commute even for some.
Oh yeah.
For those matters.
Or like
I'm excited too.
Go up Avenida La Molina. Go up Avenida La Molina. It is the weirdest experience in your life to drive up Avenida La Molina into Tembo Viejo. Right? Because you're going to be driving alongside of Porsches and Audis and these luxury brand cars, BMWs. You're going to be driving alongside of those. And there's going to be like 4 moto taxis in the same lane. Right? It's one of the weirder experiences because you're going out of the wealthier parts of La Molina on your way to Sevilla and
Pachacamac and all that.
Yeah, and all that. And like there are some wealthy people like who are making that or using that particular route fairly often, and so you will see a mix of all sorts of shit.
Yes.
You will see things on the road that you will believe should not ever be on the road. You will also see luxury vehicles.
That contrast is so it catches your attention
very quickly.
Very quickly, yeah.
Yeah. It is always weird to me, like just how great the discrepancy is in wealth in different parts of Lima. Like, I've been running in San Isidro and I told this story for a while when I first moved here because it's funny to me. But this guy in San Isidro owned like a brand new Lamborghini. Okay. And I was running faster than the Lamborghini was driving because of the speed bumps. But there it is in San Isidro, some dude with a Lamborghini, and I'm like, why would you have that here? Why would you ever have that?
Just to show off.
Yeah.
Just to show off. I mean, there is no other answer.
No, it's not so you can get around town faster. Yes, exactly. Like when you went to university, you could find a battered station wagon next to a brand new Mini Cooper. Exactly. And like where I went to high school, like there were people in my high school where they were driving BMWs to school, and then the guy that played with me on the basketball team was driving like a 1980 something Volkswagen Rabbit. And I'm like, okay, like sure, right? But it's similar to that. But yeah, so the bigger announcement today, I guess, is that we're bringing on contributors. Right now, there's only 2 because people need to talk to me and send email address and stuff like that, so I can start like a user profile and everything. But, well, 2 is you and Donnie. That's pointing at my wife. 2 is you and Donnie. You both have user profiles now, so you can share your opinions. I just get to like edit it to make sure that you're actually using English.
I'm a contributor already.
Yeah, she contributes already by telling me what to say. I am her puppet.
You're a puppet?
Nice for her.
That's
Yeah.
how you treat your contributors?
I am their puppet. I am her puppet.
And wait.
You are her Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I wish.
I am just Dina Boluarte, and she is. And
Oh my
she,
God! Don't even say it. Don't even say it. That's an
You
insult.
just call her Dina Boluarte.
I am Dina Boluarte, and she is.
Don't say it. It's not funny for
Who's
me.
controlling the Congress?
She's a nice Japanese lady.
Yeah, man, save your skinny AFS.
Are you Peruvian or were you raised in Lima? No. Show us your Rolex. There it is. There it is.
Dina Balearte, which is it's a really
Yeah.
flavor.
I still need to find people who are going to corrupt me and hand me thousands and thousands of dollars. But I'm open for. This is Peru. No, I'm not. Because, well, I'm just not. I don't need the money. So,
No, it's not because you don't need the money. Because you're going to justify the corrupted people just because they need the money. What you said.
no.
You don't do it because it's not good.
It's not ethical to do
It's
it.
not ethical. There you go.
Yes, you have standards, people.
There you go.
Have standards.
You know, I mean, I want to take the chance that I am here
Yeah.
because I would like to say something, but I mean, I'm not afraid now to say it. Tell this. I hope nobody from my job, my ex-job, so now I don't work there anymore, is around here.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting how I found this piece of information. Did you know that, how's the name? Montesinos?
Yeah.
Montesinos' daughter is working as a teacher, more than a teacher now, at Britannico.
Really? Montesinos' daughter is working as a teacher, more than a teacher.
More than a teacher. But
More-
let me tell you the story because it's something that.
But she doesn't
is
deserve to be
really
there. That's the
unbelievable.
thing.
Okay.
Sorry?
Is like she doesn't deserve the position or something like
No,
that.
I mean, there is something more going on there that I just couldn't figure out. And while I was doing it, I got kicked off my job because of that. Let me tell you what is this thing. So when I entered to work as a teacher,
Yeah.
she entered the same year with no experience and anything.
Yeah.
And we all just didn't pay attention to her. We didn't know it was Montesinos' daughter. We just knew her as Silvana.
Yeah.
And then as years went by, obviously you don't want to stay as just a teacher, but she got upgraded really faster and without making any effort.
Yeah.
So after 5 years, she got promoted to teacher trainer. After 1 year, she got promoted as, like you would say, the bosses of the teacher trainers.
Yeah.
And now she makes the decision of who leaves and who stays at Britannico, so she has a lot of power there. But when I was trying to find that out, I googled her name just by chance, and I saw her picture dressed in, like she was in prison.
Yeah.
The news were all over. On Google, you can find her name, and you can find her in prison. She was dressed as if she was going to prison and everything. She was even, I think, she was in jail for a short period because she was like we call here testaferros.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand the word.
Yeah, that I don't know how it is when someone uses your name
Oh,
to purposes.
identity theft.
No.
No.
No, you use your name in order to buy on behalf of other people, but it is illegally. It's not like just to cover laundry, money laundering, kind of like.
Yeah, it's not really money laundering, but it's like money laundering adjacent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's in.
She was in prison for that.
Yeah.
I mean, how could a person who has that background could just easily enter to this NGO, because Britannico is considered as an NGO,
Yeah.
and just make progress so fast. So some people, some teachers started saying that she has money invested, she has actions invested in at Britannico.
Yeah, probably.
And, yeah, so
Public.
it is,
Figurehead?
but nobody
Nobody can
digs
find it?
deeper into that. Nobody digs deeper into that because there
Figurehead.
is something going on there, and that's why, I mean, it's really, I mean, Britannico doesn't pay taxes. You know that it is portrayed as an NGO in Peru, so they don't pay taxes at all.
Excuse me, Chiqui here.
Yeah.
So the Britannico, it's an NGO. It has links to the UK embassy.
I don't know how, but they invite the UK embassy, they invite the ambassador, they invited even the...
Because, you know, I did the Alliance Française, and they had links with the embassy. So if the embassy had support and recognition, is the Britannico kind of supporter for the embassy financially?
No, financially, no. I mean, they are always making invitations, making everything,
I mean-
so that even the ambassador, the queen's daughter, come, and they even have some very, very glamorous dinner parties.
Oh, but they attend. They attend the events.
Yes,
Okay.
but it's not like they are linked to it. I know though that they make donations, money donations to Britannico, because they are portrayed as an NGO, and
Yes.
that's how they are here in Peru.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know.
NGOs are a great way to money launder, though.
Well, NGOs is a generic name because you don't depend from the government. So
yeah, but let's say NGOs are a great way to money launder. Right.
yeah, and Peruvians are
Yeah.
one of the best. But
So-
I'm not sure for the Britannico.
No, I'm just saying, in general, they are. So,
There's something stinky there that I'm sure there's something that is connected with Montesino.
and yeah, I'm sure she's also getting
Privilege.
some privilege because of her name
Yeah.
and because of her connections, her family connections. Like,
The money.
I mean, yes, I'm sure she's getting more money and like more. She just is going to have more access in higher Peruvian society because, or with certain people within Peruvian society because of her name.
And to be honest, that my dad commit an awful crime doesn't mean that I'm a criminal
Well,
because I'm the daughter, right?
yes,
But if my name
But
or
she was
my money
convicted.
is being used in order to money laundering,
yeah,
and she paid, you know, if she had been on jail
yeah,
But that's
for the
weird
time
thing,
that
because
was
when we
right, so it's
signed
really
the
tricky.
contract, they asked for our if we have had any convictions
yeah.
prior to where we are now. So it was really contradictory that they didn't ask her, but they asked.
Well,
the other candidate.
it's a weird situation, right? Because like,
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
yeah, it certainly doesn't look good, and I like at best, it looks very, very bad, right? And at worst, so somebody is committing a crime.
Yeah.
Like I would just say, they're like, yes, they likely made an exception for her in some way because, like, how do you escape the shadow of Montesinos?
Yeah, but I think
Right.
that I don't know if she's a criminal,
Yeah,
but ethically, traffic of influence.
yeah,
It would depend how, right? So it's more ethical and moral crime that crime itself.
But still, if you're attached to a dictator, like if you're the fifth family member of a dictator, even if you're not the dictator yourself, you're still going to end up with people saying, "Oh, you're a bad person because you are related to the dictator."
Well,
right? So, like, in some way, you have to go like, well, that's a shitty life for her to have, right? In that, like, even if she wasn't a bad person, even if she isn't a bad person, she's always going to be tied to that bad person.
Yeah, well,
right?
Unfortunately, here in Peru, oh my God, you're getting sick.
Yes, I have a head cold.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's unfortunate, but at the same time is they have been enjoying privileges with the taxpayers' money or crime organized money because they steal the stealers, right? In a lot of cases.
Well, yes. On that note, there are public officials being kidnapped and assaulted and everything in La Libertad. Yeah.
Assaulted?
Yeah, assaulted, kidnapped.
I watched one news that says that they were kind of like took it for the crowd.
No.
And made them walk.
No. They were like in their house, assaulted, kidnapped.
And not for the people or for extortionists?
I don't know if they're extortionists per se, but at least criminals. Right. So I would imagine they are criminals, probably with connections to Los Popos because they're the dominant gang in that area. But yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, public officials in their houses getting assaulted and kidnapped.
I would like to check if he voted for the...
Probably not. And we are still waiting on Dina Boluarte's brother. He was supposed to be back. His hearing was supposed to be back in session 40 minutes ago.
That girl had been dismembered.
Yes. Yes, femicide. Yes. And that cop is still free. And he is believed to have fled the country or be in the process of fleeing the country. So, yeah. Because Peruvian National Police do anything but the right thing. The guy has an extensive criminal record to include some very not nice accusations.
Take this.
Also, that's not what's going to help me. I have a head cold. I'm not cold. I have a head cold.
What?
I have sinus stuff. Yeah, maybe. Now she oversees teachers in all branches. That's.
Yeah.
Does she at least speak English well?
Well, I got the chance to talk to her when she observed one of my classes. She's not like, I wouldn't say that she's very top notch.
Yeah.
But she's average.
She's average.
I wouldn't, but it's really difficult to imagine how fast she just got promoted, and I don't know.
But
there's something going on there. I just wouldn't.
But if that's the case, I sort of understand why people ask me if I teach English then, because
the question should be also why the Britannics make it so easy.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Why did they make it so easy?
Yeah.
And then thinking about it, well, Britannico, every year they raise the money they charge every month for students.
Yeah, the tuition cost, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the costs are they raise it every year, and I can just imagine how rich they are becoming, and without paying taxes. I mean,
Well, they're the largest English.
oh,
They're the largest English school in Lima, at least.
Well,
Are they not?
the Catholic Church doesn't pay taxes, and nobody's saying that, and they are freaking corrupted and rape kids and stuff. So
there is some corruption going on there. I'm very sure.
a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
Yes.
But I will prefer the himna instead of Britannico.
So you're saying it?
I would like to hear like a water instead of water.
Water. No, but, if you ask me, I've been teaching lots of very I don't know if famous, you want to say famous, but more well-known places.
Yeah.
And I haven't found any in Peru that pays, what the teacher deserves, and also I haven't found any that have a system that really works. So if anyone asks me which one is the best English language center in Peru, I would just say none.
No.
They don't find yet the system that really works, and they just want to add more students so they earn more money. They just see money. They don't see quality too much.
We're gonna bring up Elizabeth.
And that's sad.
We're bringing up Elizabeth.
But when you hear somebody speaking English in here, do you hear it with a British accent?
No.
No.
So what's the point of Britannico though?
Oh wait, you think Britannico teaches British accent? They don't.
No,
They
but
teach
I
standard.
believe they should.
Yep.
No, they don't. They
I-
don't.
Oh, they don't?
there's an answer to this.
Oh, my bad.
So if you're British, you spell things differently than if you're from the United States. So the United States has their own form of English. Canada has a form of English that's a mix of both British and United States English. And then Britain has their own. That is, they don't use the Z as much in British English. They use an S more than a Z in some words. Sorry, my wife is like lighting every burner on the stove, I think. Yeah, there we go.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, how are you? I just wanted to chip in. Well, I have, just to say, Salome, I do agree with you. They don't really seem to have like a method, a specific method to teach the students. I remember just falling asleep on the class, like I just relied on my ability to know English to pass exams. It was really that easy.
Yes.
There you go,
Yeah.
Britannic.
And I
There you go,
thought
Britannico
at
reputation.
IGNA, I thought at IGNA, I thought at Britannico, I thought at Idioma Católica, Católica University. And the last job I have had here in Peru is at La Universidad del Pacífico.
Yeah.
That's a
Now
good
that you would think so, right? You would think so. But this year, in January, last January, the director she has retired, and all the system changed. Everything changed just for the sake of the money. The system went to the garbage, straight to the garbage. And one of the reasons I quit it was because of that, because they had a good system to teach the language. But now the new director just wants more students to make more money, and they don't care anymore about the quality.
Yeah.
So they are now where everybody's.
See, I have my own system for learning languages. So first you learn all the swear words. And then you learn how to put the swear words together.
Which is educators, come on.
Yeah, and then you learn how to address certain people with the swear word.
So in Peru, it would be like something like the C word.
Yeah. Now, my wife does not agree with this system, but it's the easiest way, I think, to learn a language. Is what do you say when you're mad? Right, and you start using those words.
I used to say it in French because the way my mom wouldn't understand it.
I remember we walked past some French Canadians in Miraflores a couple weekends ago, and immediately I just went with Calice Tabernac Esti, right? Because that's immediately what I think about when I think about French Canadians.
You can tell right away that they were French Canadians. They were French Canadians.
They were French Canadians. It's the way they talk. They don't talk like they're speaking French, but it's not. It's not like
yeah,
French.
French people will usually ignore them when they speak French with them.
Yeah, they will. They will, because Canadian French is not very good French. It is not good French at all.
Sorry, French Canadians.
But
I remember I have a cousin that lives in Quebec.
yeah,
And I remember that when he was still here, he was very interested in the language to make sure that he knew where he stood on when he went there.
yeah.
He told me that when he got there, he was having more trouble understanding the Quebecans than anything.
That happens to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my wife lived in France. So lived in Lyon. Speaks French. She still has issues with Canadian French because it's not French.
It's Quebecois.
It's patois.
It's, I mean, it will depend if it's in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
That is all French.
Yeah.
Le musique.
Yeah. The Acadians have.
Franco-Ontarian.
Yeah.
And not the French. So they
Yeah.
have their. And we're not talking about accents. We're talking about French.
Yeah, they actually change words. It's entirely different. They just eliminated parts of Quebec French have just been replaced by English. Elizabeth, you're getting attacked.
Oh no. So sorry. It's just that, like I live with my parents and we have other people that friend here.
Yeah.
And they all have dogs. I have a dog, so they all get crazy when they get together.
Those are the Britannico students they want to talk to.
Yeah.
Those are the botanical students.
Well, but yeah, I mean, it's very nice to talk this, not to speak my mind about this, because I have always been asked to recommend a certain language center, and I can never just say what I really think. There is no.
This is also part of the problem is that people here tend to not say what they really think.
Yeah, because I'm afraid to just make someone feel bad or just.
Yes.
Too polite.
Yes,
I
this
always
is-
felt bad. I thought they were teaching Britannic accent in there.
Okay. This is
They don't really care what accent you use when you speak to them.
But it's I
Just to
think
make sure that you speak fluently.
yeah, I think that what they meant is not the accent, is the written English, right? So I remember to be taught color, not LOR, color.
there's too much noise going on
Yeah.
right now.
Someone needs to be muted.
Yeah, I'm muting you for a second, Elizabeth.
Deal with those.
Okay, just for a second. Just until the dogs calm down.
Did you hear what I said?
No, I didn't.
No, we hear you.
Okay, I said that Britannico teaches with a cultural background
Yeah.
coming from Britain, and IPNA teaches with an American cultural background.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that differs
Yeah.
both institutes. I mean, it's not that they teach you the accent. Actually, you can have American teachers and British teachers at IPNA, and vice versa in the case of Britannico. But that doesn't mean that they teach you one accent. Actually, no institute here in Peru teaches you an accent. They don't teach pronunciation phonetically even. Because they don't know.
No, but the only thing that really changes is the spelling of certain words. That's all that really changes. Like color. So if you learned the word color from a U.S. teacher, it's COLOR. But if you learn it from a Britannicos teacher, it should be COLOUR.
And at least that was on my time. I'm talking about early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah. But yeah, there's slight differences, but either way, you're still learning English. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, the thing is that it's the student the one who is going to learn more than the teacher that is going to teach.
Yeah. But I do understand now, after all of that, why people ask me all the time if I teach English.
Because they maybe they think that a native speaker has the key to successful English learning.
Sure.
No. that's very delusional. It's not true, but I think that's what Peruvians believe. Most of us think that the original is the most beneficial, is the best.
No.
You can say.
So just the key to learning English, or learning any language for that matter, bury your ego and start reading children's books.
That's what.
Like, don't look at me like, oh, I'm an adult, I have to read adult things. No. Bury your ego. Don't have an ego. Read pop-up books if that's what helps.
What is that sound now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's up, STV? Yeah. So Elizabeth, the dogs are calmed down. You can unmute yourself. They just went wild there. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know why they went crazy. It's just that I have a neighbor that has like four or five dogs, and they all went crazy at the same time.
Oh.
And my Jack Russell is like very quiet here, looking at the window.
He's staring at the reality of Peru. Oh no. I mean, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
You never know with cartoons.
You guys,
But
you can do that.
About teaching in the future as a means of, I don't know, as a side job for you.
Have I thought about it? I've thought about it in the past, but I don't know that I want to like follow like Britannico's sort of system or the American system. I don't want
to private your own.
Yeah, I could do it privately. But I mean, like I have my own ideas about like how you should like learn to speak, and that is that like you need to. I tend to be pretty precise in my language. I tend to be.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're an instructor in English, you're going to kill all your students.
Yeah, that's my concern.
So you have to talk to someone that it's already wants just improve.
Yes, but also I understand that like people use a lot of slang, right? And a lot of terminology that if you just learn the language as you see it in a book, like in a textbook, you're never going to actually know the language completely. So I had this idea of helping to teach English using Cards Against Humanity. And I don't know if you have that in Spanish, but if you know
I
it,
think we have the game in Spanish, but I'm not sure if there's a bilingual one. To be honest.
Yeah. So I have the whole set. I have a large set. So I have the main pack plus expansion packs, and I have it here. And I was like, I can teach English with this because you legitimately could teach English with it, right? But I don't think that's the type of English that a lot of people want to learn. Because it's very
that's a bit more.
It's very functional, day to day, everyday English. It's not like my business English. You're not going to write an essay after learning English that way. You're not going to write a scholarly paper.
You should.
I don't know. I think as long as you have a side motivation, perhaps you can start learning a language very easily. I remember that I knew how to speak English by 10, 11. Not so well, but I could pass by. But then I started reading fan fiction.
Yeah.
And that's when I really got motivated to learn, because the best fan fictions can be found in English.
Yeah. So Elizabeth really loves Twilight.
Oh no, that's not my type. I'm more like Harry Potter.
Oh.
Those books also have a lot of good advanced.
Yeah,
they do.
Okay. Sure. Sure. Okay. I'm stuffed up, and it is almost 7:30, so it's almost the end of my time here for the evening. So before I go, I want to say, do the usual stuff. You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube. You can find me on all that. Sorry, my brain's not working because I'm stuffed up. Pensate Peru, just find me around. I am still looking for contributors, so just DM me, message me on here, and just tell me your name and where you're from, and let's have a little bit of a chat, and then I can set you up with, hopefully anyway, I can set you up with an account, and you can contribute to Pensate Peru, and we'll go, and then we can have back and forth if you want to figure out how to do it or whatever. But yeah, so that's the big thing. And okay, now, what do contributors do? They write news in English from, well, not news necessarily, but if there's something going on around them that they want to write about, if you're, for instance, living in Callao, what are the people in Callao talking about? So if you're out on the street, you go to the Central Market, and you hear everybody's talking about a certain event or something that happened, then you just come back and you say, if you want to do that sort of thing, you just come in and go, I was in was in the Central Market today, everybody in Callao sort of talking about this thing that's going on. That's really all it is. Or if you see something, you experience things in a different way, because people in Callao are going to have a different opinion about news that maybe we all share in knowing about, but they're going to have a different opinion in Callao than somebody has in Lima, obviously. But it doesn't matter where you are in the country. The only place that I really, really, really want to get is Iquitos. I really, 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 I want Puno as well. Iquitos and Puno, but Iquitos has been at the top of my list for a while, just because it feels like Iquitos gets seriously separated from the rest of the country because of its location, which, it's a hard place to get to, and not everybody gets a chance to go there, right? So, I am hoping to get somebody from Iquitos at some point, but that's 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 just a me thing. Okay, I am going to take off now and empty my face.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming up, guys. Thanks, Donnie. Thanks, Salome. Thanks, Elizabeth. I will see you noon tomorrow for the midday update. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right.
Okay. This isn't bad, but all the blueberries sunk to the bottom. You see that? It's not bad, but all the blueberries sunk.
Yeah. I'm going to send this to her too.
She asked where you were earlier. I haven't seen Chicky in forever. Where is she?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's upstairs working.
Yeah, I'm in the building, but she's not available.
Oh. My face is full.
You have sinus.
Yeah, the sign's full. Head cold.
Why?
Oh.
Your defense are not good.
It's because you made me shave. I have no fur.
Even as a joke, you blame me.
I have no fur on my face.
Ridiculous.
I have no fur on my face to keep all the bad things away.